Hey everyone, ready to jump into a story about some real community spirit? We're off to Baltimore. Going to check out this Eager Street Commons revitalization project.
This isn't one of those, like, just sprucing things up kind of things. We're going deep on this one. Talking about how people who live there face some big challenges, social and economic, head on, all through this city initiative, Vacants to Value.
Yeah, and we've got these excerpts from a case study on Eager Street, ready to break down what it did to everything, property values, even public health. It's pretty inspiring stuff.
What really grabs you about this project is it shows you how these local things, they can really spark change. But, and this is important, only if they're really working with the community.
Okay, so picture this. Small neighborhood in East Baltimore, tons of history, but also decades of neglect, right?
Yeah.
More empty buildings than lived-in ones, crime everywhere. Classic example of a place going downhill. Where do you even start to turn that around?
Well, you got to get the history right.
Yeah.
See, Eager Street Commons, it wasn't always like this. Lots of urban areas are the same way. It used to be lively, built by immigrants, actually. But then, like a lot of cities in, say, the late 1900s, things changed. People moved, investment dried up, and it hit minority neighborhoods harder, leading to, well, what we see today.
Sadly, it's something you see across the country. But Eager Street, their story takes a turn. These residents, they didn't just wait around for someone to fix things. They had to work themselves even before this Vacants to Value program, or V2V as we'll call it, came along.
Yeah, they understood. If you want real change, it comes from the inside. Residents organized cleanups, built relationships with the police, advocated for what they needed. They were showing they cared.
They were setting the stage for something big. There's even this story about them. They turned an empty lot into a baseball field for kids. Seems small, but it shows how much they cared about their community.
Totally. That baseball field, it's like a symbol of the whole project. Shows how even little things, bringing people together, it creates hope, makes things seem possible.
So along comes Vacants to Value. Tell us about this program. How did it take those efforts to the next level?
V2V. They gave them a plan and resources, offered incentives for developers to invest, tax breaks, easier ways to buy property. They cut through all that red tape that slows things down.
It's like they gave residents a toolbox and said, let's build something right. I read they used, get this, deconstruction, not demolition, on the vacant homes. What was that about?
Isn't that interesting? It wasn't just about being green, though that's a plus.
Yeah.
Taking buildings apart carefully, brick by brick, it gave residents job training, real skills. They were rebuilding their community, literally from the ground up. Talk about empowerment.
Wow, they weren't just watching this happen, they were a part of it, shaping their own neighborhood.
Right. And it went further, even the design part. Imagine this. You tour a model home, then you get to customize your own place with the developers.
Yeah.
Now that's ownership.
That's amazing. Sounds like V2V, it gave them a solid foundation, but it was the residents, their passion, that made it work. What were some of the real tangible results from all this?
Well, for one, tons of those empty homes, they got fixed up. Property values went up a lot. But what's really cool is what happened within the community itself. Remember that baseball field? That's just one way people were coming together, trusting each other more, feeling proud of where they lived.
It's amazing how a simple shared space can do that for a community. But hold on, it wasn't all perfect, right? The case study, it mentions some tension as new people moved in, different lifestyles and all that.
You're right. It's never simple. When a place gets revitalized, a lot changes, and with change comes new problems to figure out. So Eager Street Commons, it starts getting better, right? And that's when you get some tension, especially about this new park they built. The people who'd lived there, a lot of them had put their hearts into fixing the place up. They felt really protective of it.
Makes sense, they'd been through a lot.
Yeah, and now all these new folks are moving in, drawn to the nicer houses, the amenities, but they didn't live through the tough times,
Like they're joining a story in the middle and maybe they see the ending differently.
Right. Imagine you've lived somewhere a long time, used to how things are, then new neighbors come in, different ideas about noise, parking, just how people interact.
Even small differences, they could cause problems in that situation. The report, it focused on the park, but were there other examples of these growing pains?
Oh, yeah. Remember how V2V helped people buy their homes? Great for stability, builds community, right? But it also changed who lived there. Case study said this led to misunderstandings, different cultures, and what's expected. Think about it. A neighborhood where everyone used to hang out on porches, now some people want more privacy. Got to find ways to bridge that gap.
Sounds tricky. You're trying to respect the old community, but also make the new people feel welcome, build a future together. But even with these bumps, the report calls Eager Street Commons a success. Why? What made it work?
Big thing was the residents, how involved they were. From the beginning, they weren't just told what to do, they decided what their future would be.
They had skin in the game, like you said. It was their lives, not some project.
Exactly. And because of that, they wanted to find solutions, even when they disagreed. There's this quote one resident said, "We might not always agree, but at least we're talking."
Powerful stuff. So it wasn't just fixing buildings, it was fixing those connections between people, making them feel responsible for their community.
Exactly. And that feeling, it made things better in their lives. The report, it said people felt safer, less stressed, proud of where they lived.
That's what gets me. It goes so much deeper than just bricks and mortar. It's about people's lives getting better.
No doubt. Shows us how to do revitalization right. It's not about forcing some plan on people. It's about giving them the power to decide their own future. That's the real lesson here. Other places can learn from that.
That's why we do these deep dives. Find these stories, learn something from them. So, what are the big takeaways here? What did Eager Street teach us? So many good lessons here. As we're absorbing all this Eager Street wisdom, what are the big takeaways? What can other places learn?
Well, number one, Eager Street Commons, it proves that if you want lasting change, the residents have to lead the way. Give the power to the people who actually live there. Let them decide their community's future.
Makes sense, right? It's their lives, their streets.
Exactly. And the second thing, you got to have strong partnerships. Like in Eager Street, the residents, organizations like AGBC, that's the Historic East Baltimore Community Action Coalition, and City Hall, they all work together.
HEBCT, got it. So it's not just residents on their own. It's about teamwork, making connections. How did those partnerships actually work in this project?
They were key to navigating V2V, helping with grants, legal stuff, getting the word out. That kind of cooperation, it's essential. Any community trying to do this, they need that.
Sounds like you need a real support system. But like you said before, every place is different. What worked in Eager Street, it might not be the answer for everyone, right?
You got it. There's no magic solution for this stuff. Every community, it's like its own thing with its history, its struggles, what it wants to be. You got to get that, listen to the people, find the right solutions for them.
So learn from Eager Street, sure, but know that each place will have its own path.
Totally. It's about adjusting as you go, realizing that revitalization, it never really ends. You got to keep working at it, keep talking to each other, be ready to change.
As we wrap up this deep dive, this story of Eager Street Commons, it gives you hope. It shows you what people can do when they have the power to shape their own community.
It reminds us revitalization, it's not just about buildings. It's about people, about rebuilding trust, making them feel like they belong, believing in a better future.
It shows that even when things seem impossible, change can happen. You need that community spirit, people working together, and that belief that your neighborhood can be better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So think about it. What makes your community special? What needs fixing? And how can you be a part of that solution?
Because just like that empty lot that became a baseball field, real change. It starts small. A little bit of courage, some caring, and a shared dream for something better. That's what it's all about.